Anyway,
There you go.
all right. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, really?
Welcome to the regular session meeting, and we'll have an executive session later on of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. We're also sitting as all special taxing districts, and this is the April 16, 9 a.m. meeting. Um, this is a call to order. We will move the executive session to the end of the meeting so that we don't keep people waiting here. So we will begin with the regular session items, and the first one is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll have Supervisor Pancras lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the first item in the agenda is a call to the public. Normally, we'd ask you to fill out, well, not normally, we'll ask you to fill in a speaker form. And I do have one here. Mrs. Darlene Brooks, she wants to speak in an item that's not in the agenda. Would you please step up, ma'am?
Good morning, Chairman
morning.
Reyes and other supervisors. As you know, our dog was viciously attacked by a pit bull. My husband would be here, but he is at the doctor because his index finger was infected. Now this is, several weeks later. He's on 2 antibiotics, soaking his hand. I want to reiterate that the supervisor of animal control said this dog was only animal aggressive. Well, my husband is certainly ill and having issues. I'm now having issues. I'm not walking. I'm afraid of the dogs in the neighborhood. And I think it's something I just really need to bring to your attention. And I know Mr. Simmons has asked for some research and looking into these laws, and I certainly want to thank you, and I appreciate you all doing that. One other issue, we did get the report. It had the man's name. He does not live at the residence that he has on there. It's a block from us. We can see what happens. I'd like the officers that are involved with these dog issues, I'm assuming they're sheriffs or have been deputized. I'd like them to follow up on this, look at the driver's license, find out, is that really their residence? Do they have a criminal record? Is there some other aggressive behavior that needs to be looked at? Has that dog attacked someone else where it lives and there's no fences or anything. I think it's really important that these animal control officers engage seriously with all of us that are, now becoming more and more aware. I'm sure there's many people that have been aware. I just thank you for looking into this and continuing to search out answers for this problem, for these issues. The irony of this is there's 2 little kids that live 3 or 4 doors from this dog. And I just love them. They're sweet as can be. They came over. They ride their bikes. They have a dog they walk. I'm just living in fear they're going to be hurt. They are concerned about this dog, if you can believe that. They said, have you seen it? Looks very skinny. I have not seen this dog. I'm afraid of this dog. And the dichotomy is people tell me that I want this dog euthanized, and here are 2 little children that are worried that its care is adequate. So thank you. My time is up. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if your time is up, but it's been yellow for the whole time. But thank you for the update, and I'm sure that the proper officials are taking note. Thank you. I need to make an appointment, and I'm not sure whether the Parks Commission appointment, is it a regular appointment like this, or does it have to be brought forth to the front of the whole
It will
board?
need to be before the whole board, and it's scheduled to be on the next agenda for May 2nd.
Okay, well, Louis Gradias is the name, okay, just in case. All right. Does anybody on the board have any appointments to make or any changes?
You have another call to the public.
I didn't see no
I told him he didn't have to have one.
Oh, well, that's what you get when you consult with the vice chair.
Oh, no, come on.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those meetings.
Good morning.
It's about golf, so it's.
My name is Tim Hardy, and I'm here for Caldwell Public as the chairman for the Yuma County AZ chapter of Kids at Hope. I just wanted to give you a very, very brief update of Kids at Hope. Kids at Hope is a national organization. Its basic belief is that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. So we always think about, well, why do some kids make it to successful adults, like our board of directors, and why do some kids not make it? Well, the difference is because those kids have had adults in their life, maybe their parents, maybe school teachers, but someone like Supervisor Pancrazzi that was a goal and a mentor for them as they grew up. We learned about Kids at Hope about 4 years ago. I was at a meeting, I learned about it, and it hit me so hard because I'm not sure I always believed that all kids were capable of success, especially with dealing with kids in the jobs that I have been in. But we found out that you really can make a difference in a child's life. So came back to Yuma 4 years ago, and we just didn't want it to be about the juvenile court because it's about every kid. So we started a long journey, and now we're actually in 22 schools in Yuma. We are in 5 school districts. We have trained over 6,000 adults. And on the average, if you just look at the number of students at each school, well over 12 to 15,000. At the beginning, this was all paid for by the Supreme Court of Arizona, and it was part of the strategic plan of connecting with the public. But it grew so fast, we were worried that the Supreme Court was going to say, you've gone a little bit overboard, which is what Yuma does. We do things and we only do it the best. So we requested to be a chapter of Kids at Hope. That was approved, and now we're the first community chapter in the entire United States to be a chapter of Kids at Hope, which also allows us to be a nonprofit. And I thank the COCOPAs and the Board of Supervisors for thinking of us a couple of weeks ago to help us out. But it's about moving forward. Our goal is to have every school, every organization that works with kids to believe in Kids at Hope. Now, I thought that was a big stretch a few years ago, but I have no idea, no doubt now we're headed that way. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm proud the county has allowed us to come in and do training to the new supervisors. So the county has reached out. And I just wanted to bring to your attention that we have a golf tournament coming up on Cinco de Mayo, actually May the 5th. And I'm just about done.
Yeah, it works.
And I would encourage, if anybody's interested to play in the golf tournament or even be a sponsor for the golf tournament, we'd gladly accept that. And I want to thank you, and I'll sit down and I'll go back to my other job.
You have another job?
Yes, I do.
I will do my best to get my husband in that term.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public that wants to address the board? No, we'll keep it open just in case. Keep the item open. The first item in our presentation, proclamation, and appointments, it's the presentation of the county line by Yuma 77, the Yuma County Government Channel.
The 2017 Yuma County Employee, Court Employee, and Safety Award winners were announced. We have them for you. Local school kids get a visit from Public Works. We'll take you there. And victims hold an event to call attention to abuse. These stories and more, this is your County Line. follow us on Facebook, you know that we're celebrating our employees this month. During our annual Employee Appreciation event last week, the 2017 Yuma County Employee of the Year, Superior Court Employee of the Year, and Safety Excellence Award winner were announced. Altogether, there were 23 nominees for all three categories. While all were deserving, only one winner could be named from each category. When the time came, Nancy Nye from the County Administration Office was officially named the Yuma County Employee of the Year at the Yuma Arts Center.
I think it's a big honor to represent the county, and I think there's a lot of well-deserved employees here who work hard every day and whose goal is to improve the service for the county residents.
We had a new category this year to recognize, the 2017 Yuma County Superior Court Employee of the Year. Again, the nominees were all deserving in their own way, but only one can claim the title. And Robert Bobby Guzman from Juvenile Courts was declared the winner.
I was the one that was up there receiving the award, but I was up there receiving the award for the whole staff of Aztec, basically. It's their help and their dedication every day and a teamwork that helps us be successful here at Aztec High School.
And finally, with a focus on safety, our 2017 Employee Safety Excellence Award winner was announced. Congratulations goes to Ramon Salcido from Public Works. Congratulations to all three of our winners. We appreciate the standard each of you has set for all of us to aspire to. Some local elementary school children received an in-depth exposure to what it's like working for the county when our Public Works Department visited their schools. The children received a first-hand view of how traffic control, highway, and solid waste divisions work. The visit gives our employees the opportunity to expose these young people on the importance of the work they do for the community and help spark interest in the possibility of becoming a Public Works employee.
A lot of people are not informed, especially kids. You know, they see a lot of machinery out there. They get excited when they see it, but they don't know exactly what the machine is used for out in the construction world. So out here trying to educate our kids and then give them a chance to get up close to the machine. So I'm pretty sure it's exciting for them.
These events are leading up to National Public Works Week, which is held every May. When a crime is committed, far too often the victim is left feeling alone and isolated. That's why Congress enacted the Victim Rights Act back in 1984. Area residents committed to ending the cycle of violence marched in support of victims and survivors recently. The annual Walk a Mile in Their Shoes event provides support to those who have been victims of domestic and sexual violence.
Participation that the Safe House has with the Walk a Mile is to basically be support to the victims in our community. So we want to make sure that they are heard and that we understand, sympathize, and empathize with them and whatever their struggles are with trying to break the cycle of domestic violence.
Spread out over a mile, agencies set up informational booths. Participants then walked a mile.
It's an opportunity for the community to come out and get an idea of the not only the rights that victims have, but the needs and support that they have to have as well, you know, following the aftermath of a crime, seeking healing and support. And it's also an opportunity for the community to see those professionals, organizations, members of our community, and individuals who support those crime victims throughout the year.
If you've ever been a victim of a crime or know someone that has but aren't sure where to turn for help, you can contact the Yuma County Attorney's Office. Just go to their website at yumacountyaz.gov/county attorney. The Yuma County Public Defender is available to those who cannot afford counsel in a criminal case. They're entitled by law to court-appointed counsel. Today, we look into this office. Attorneys, investigators, and support staff have to work together closely to provide the service their clients deserve.
The Public Defender's Office is charged with representing persons charged with criminal offenses that have been appointed by the courts. These are people who can't afford their defense but are charged with serious offenses. Our office in particular is charged with handling the most serious crimes in Yuma. We get all of the assignments of felony cases where indigent representation is needed. And we select for the high-end cases, the murders, the robberies, the assaults, and we also defend cases where juveniles are charged with offenses. Our office first receives the appointment, evaluates the cases, then overflows or conflicts to the legal defender. The legal defender handles similar cases, and they also handle some matters we don't. Now, the reason why we have overflow cases is the ethical considerations require that our attorneys not have so many cases that they're then ineffective in representing their clients. We try to retain as well as recruit, so I think it's always good to have a mix of more experienced and less experienced attorneys. The more experienced attorneys mentor the junior attorneys, and I think that's a real good thing to do. One of the things that is unusual about our office is we have more experience with our attorneys than most indigent agencies do. So I think the experience level in our office is a good thing, and it helps to inform the more junior attorneys when their practice is coming up.
You can learn more about the Yuma County Public Defender's Office by visiting yumacountyaz.gov. You'll find them under the Government tab.
I'm Elia Juarez, and this is your library update. Yuma LibraryCon is coming up soon, and it has something for everyone in the community. The Yuma LibraryCon is coming to the Yuma County Main Library on May 5th. It's going to be from 9 to 5, and everyone is invited. We have something for everyone of every age, even if you're not a big comic book or superhero fan. For example, rumor has it that Maleficent from Disney is going to be doing story time for the kids. There's also going to be a cosplay contest, vendors, special guests, and you could even try your hand at a new game like Dungeons & Dragons or a card game. There's also going to be lots of panels, and this year's theme is Yuma Creates. So everything is going to be about creativity, getting things done, and getting your hands a little bit dirty. For more information on the Yuma LibraryCon or any of our other programs, make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter.
We want to take a moment and give a shout out to the Yuma County Public Housing Office. Recently, people trying to purchase a home or rent a property got to take advantage of a festival with their needs in mind. The 10th Annual Fair Housing Festival was designed to help those who have become frustrated with the process, or maybe feel that they've been discriminated against while going through the process. Local organizations from around Yuma County were on hand, answering questions about housing discrimination and many other housing-related service questions. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this County Line. If you'd like to watch past episodes, log on to yumacountyaz.gov/VOD. And don't forget, you can join us live on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
Well, good. All right, that takes care of that portion of the agenda. We will then move on to the second item, which is a presentation by Sergeant Eric Egan, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Yuma Lodge, regarding the Fallen Officer Monument Project. Sergeant Egan.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing me to come in and give a presentation of our Fallen Memorial Project. I've already said my name. I am the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Yuma Lodge, and have been for quite a while down here. Today, I want to give you the opportunity to get the information on what we're doing so that you guys are in the circle of knowledge as well. And I'll figure out the remote. Not the right button.
Well, normally, we've been here for a long time. We can't figure it out ourselves sometimes.
All right, let me try that again. There we go. All right, for anybody that doesn't know what the Fraternal Order of Police is, it was established on May 14th, 1915 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Since then, it has grown to be the largest law enforcement organization in the country, but we've also have stepped out and we have organizations in different countries also. So it's actually an international organization now. On May 15th, it became National Peace Officer Memorial Day when President Kennedy signed it into law on October 1st, 1962. And the Grand Lodge of the Fraternal Order of Police has been doing a memorial service in Washington, D.C. forever, almost. And it started out as a one-day little gathering so that they could honor and remember the fallen officers, and it has grown since then as a full week of events, candlelight visuals, and they have erected a monument in D.C. for all of the fallen law enforcement officers in the country. Our lodge here was established in 1961, and we've been holding our own annual memorial services for at least 45 years. And I say at least because those that started it that are still around can't remember exactly when they started it, but they're thinking it was around that. And that also went from a small little service outside of the Yuma Police Department to the service that we've been holding at the Quartermaster Depot for quite a long time now. This is a list of our fallen for the Yuma area community. This list includes the Imperial County Sheriff's deputies that are stationed in Winter Haven and the California Highway Patrol officers that are stationed in Winter Haven area. And we include them because they are a part of our Yuma area communities. They may work across the river, but they live and grow their children here in the Yuma area. May 15th, 2012, the Fraternal Order of Police raised the funds and dedicated this monument that's placed outside of the Yuma Police Department. As beautiful as it is, as soon as we got it in place, I realized that it's way too small and not grand enough to truly honor and show our respect for the 36 officers that have sacrificed their lives for this community. So with that in mind, we started talking about we need to build a proper monument. We need to do something that's going to be big enough that the community will be able to pay tribute should they decide to go, and have it located somewhere that we would be able to then hold our annual memorial service at, because fortunately, we've outgrown the Quartermaster Depot. So after many months of deciding and discussions and coming up with ideas, this is what we've come up with. This is the final design, and the people are not included, but they're just there for scale. This monument is going to be constructed at the Pacific Avenue Athletic Complex, and we can't thank the Parks and Rec Commission enough for allowing us to do that here and also giving us the space within the park. Having it at the PAC gives us an opportunity for thousands of people to be able to see the monument. Anybody that's coming in for the ball tournaments that they have over there won't be able to see it. I'm sorry. And it gives us plenty of an area for the memorial service to continue and to grow. As you can see with the construction, it's going to be 3 parts. The 2 block walls on the outside, and the intersection will be the corrugated metal that we have to pay to get rusted and looking. And then the grass area in the middle is going to be artificial turf, so we don't have to worry about maintenance on that. And at least 1 statue. Our goal is to be able to raise enough money that we can place more statues throughout this area. This is just some design. As you can see, that the wall is going to be 44 foot wide, and the top center section is going to be 11 foot tall. There will be plaques placed on the wall representing the 36 names, excuse me, and it will be of the raised lettering aluminum. We decided on the aluminum because it's easier to replace should something happen to one of them, and less likely something happened to one of them than the black granite. And they're also going to be coated with a anti-graffiti spray, so hopefully that won't happen anyhow. Just some more design features. The lettering that's going to be on the front of the sign will be in the same manner as the main sign into the pack, where it'll be raised off of the surface. Pen signs and with Ron Contreras there has been instrumental in coming up with the design and doing all of this work for us. And having him involved with it was great because he was involved a lot with the pack design to begin with. So he already knew with the materials and what we would need to build this in order for it to blend in well with the area. The monument area is going to be located on the west side of the park. The pond is just north of it, and it's right in the area where it separates the crushed gravel and the grass retention basin area. As you can see on the picture on the left, there's a gray thick line that shows where the sidewalk will be that we're going to make part of the construction. It too will be in the pavers that we will use for the front of the area. Along that sidewalk is where we are hoping, if we raise enough money, to place statues along that walkway, and our plan would be to try and have statues that would represent the different agencies within the area, if we can pull that off. This is a large rendition with my mad cut and paste skills involved. The X marking where the monument will be in relation to the whole park. These are samples of the statues of a company that we found that's going to be extremely cost effective for us. Normal bronze life-size statue runs anywhere from $40,000 or more. And this company makes statues that are concrete and then paint them with bronze for about $5,000. And if we come up with our own idea for them to cast, then it just doubles the cost to $10,000, which is still nothing compared to a bronze statue. Committee member for the memorial project, J.R. Skaggs, did a lot of research on this company, stretched out to different people that have purchased their products, and we've got wonderful reviews from them. So that we're hoping that it'll withstand the Yuma heat in the summertime very well, and should anything ever happen that it's vandalized or damaged, well, then we only have to worry about coming up with another $5,000 instead of another $40,000. So these are just some examples. When we make the final decision on what we're going to use for the front of the area, of course, you all have to come and see it to find out what we put there. All right, other things that we need to get going with is we need to have a contractor do the electrical design. We're going to have power ran from the bathroom area that's right close. It'll light up the flagpoles, and we are also going to light up the wall with LED downlighting. The flagpole lights and the wall lights are all LEDs, so the cost of it is going to be very minimal to the city. We have to finalize the actual wording on the wall, and the more I keep saying this in front of people, the more I'm just fine with the words Fallen Officer Memorial, but we need to figure out exactly what we're going to put on the front of it. We've already submitted everything to the city's Department of Community Development, and we've passed all meetings and hurdles that we need with them for approval. Of course, we need to order our statues and confirm the names and to watch dates for all 36 of the fallen. We also need to solicit a contractor that will be more than willing to construct the wall. Penn Signs is going to take care of the center section. Now we just need to find somebody willing to work with us in order to do the block and all of the paving, all of the pavers, I'm sorry. So, in order to do this, we're going to be all kinds involved with fundraising. There's several ways that we can do this. Donations, either cash, check, and I'll take them today if anybody has some. One of the avenues that we have is if people are interested in a tax deductible donation, the Arizona Fraternal Order Police State Lodge has a foundation that's a 501c3, so the person or business can donate to that, and that'll serve as their tax credit. As I said, the donations directly to the local lodge, or in-kind donations from suppliers or contractors that want to donate time and materials for this project. be more than happy to take that up. I'm working on a special Facebook page and a website just strictly for the construction of the memorial, so that if somebody was interested in the status of it, they could always go somewhere and see what's going on with it. We are going to be holding fundraising events with the lodge. We also are going to be soliciting donations from local businesses, local community organizations, other Arizona Fraternal Order Police lodges, other Arizona law enforcement organizations, and I'm going to reach out to the California Highway Patrol and also the Imperial County Sheriff's Department, because their folks are on here also. We will be producing videos for the project that we'll be able to post on either the Facebook page, the website, or the Yuma Lodge YouTube channel. That way, again, if anybody wants to see what's going on or more information, that we'll have somewhere, and we'll utilize the social media as best that we can. We estimate that it's going to cost us $100,000 to construct this, along with the statues. So that's our fundraising goal. If it doesn't cost all of that, then we have more money to do more things with. Down the road plans would also be to include a couple benches in the area, and if I ever win the lottery, then we'll have shade over it also. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from the board members? Any comments?
Yeah, I have one.
Sure.
Sergeant, I noticed the sample plaque didn't have end of watch on it, but I assume they will have that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. The officer's name, end of watch date, and the agency that they served.
Great. I would prefer it not have need or room for expansion.
Well, there is room for expansion, and I too don't want to put any more up there.
Sure. It's a great project. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you for your time, and my contact information's in the PowerPoint if you guys need to get a hold of me or you want to make your donations.
Thank you. And with that, all right, we'll move on then to our next presentation, which is the Public Health Services District, the presentation of Environmental Health Division Functions and Services. There will be a dreaded PowerPoint presentation.
Good morning, Supervisor Reyes, members of the board. I was here before you a couple months ago to talk about the fee schedule, and so I shall be back again. But before I do that, I wanted to give you an overall view of some of the services the Environmental Health Department provides. So let's see if I can work this. Thank you. All right, let's do it again. All right, so our primary function is food protection and safety. So I think everybody's really familiar with the restaurant inspection function. And what people may not be aware of is the fact that we also inspect retail establishments, particularly anybody that's licensed to sell any type of food product is subject to inspection, subject to a permit. So you might not think of us going to like a Target, or you think of people like Walmart that actually sells groceries, but somebody like a Pier 1, or which would be kind of not on your radar, would be something that would be subject to inspection. We also, we provide all our inspection reports online, and that's a transparency issue. So if you're a member of the public and you want to see the latest score or how the restaurant you like to visit, frequent, rated, you can go on there. Those are updated regularly. We do foodborne outbreak investigations, and we follow up any type of surveillance. So we had an advisory issued this past Friday. Had there been a local outbreak, we would be the agency that would lead that, and that would work with state and local authorities. Otherwise, we work closely with them just to monitor the situation. We provide food handling training. So anybody that wants to work in a food establishment is required to have some sort of competency so that they know what they need to do to protect the public. So we provide that service, as well as vendor education. We work with vendors. We work with people that want to open a restaurant. Sometimes we work with people that are trying to do the mobile units and they're new. So we do plan reviews. Sometimes if somebody is purchasing a building and they're trying to rehab it to convert it to something else, we do plan reviews. That takes a lot of going back and forth. People want to do the right thing. Sometimes they just don't know. A lot of times somebody purchases an establishment from somebody else and they were grandfathered in, and it changes when they're purchasing it. So we have to go in there and work with them. And again, food product recall. Had we been issued a recall, for example, right now there's an egg recall for salmonella, we would go to the different establishments as we have done in the past, and we would actually visit all those establishments and ask them to remove the product from the shelf and then follow up and make sure that that was done. We've had to do that a couple of times. We also have policy and regulatory enforcement. We are responsible for Prop 201, which is the Smoke-Free Arizona law. We recently worked with County ITS and the GIS department to make that available online. We now have the capacity. It's an enforcement piece. By state, we are delegated the authority to go and conduct those establishments and provide technical assistance. Thanks to this GIS application that will be available online, and the establishments can now access their reports immediately. We can email you a result. It's also emailed to the state. We have a variety of county ordinances that come from both county ordinance, ADHS, Arizona Department of Health Services, and ADAQ, Arizona Department of Environmental Quality Delegated Authority. We work with the food code, that is actually our guide, where we base our rules and our enforcement activity on. We're working with the rest of the counties, and we're looking at maybe coming forth and putting a proposal to update it. Different counties are in different stages of that. We do pool inspections, hotel inspections, daycare inspections. We also visit mobile home places. We do citizen complaints, which actually we respond to via two mechanisms. We have the pool where you can go online and actually, as part of that portal, report those green pools. We use those through Vector. We also have the ability to report for any concerns that you have that come to the portal when somebody goes to an establishment and they find something is not satisfactory or they became ill, they contact us. Most of the time, though, it's somebody picked up the phone and we go out there and check it out. We have Vector control. You might be familiar with some of our activities. We work with all the municipalities. We do surveillance, we do training, and we're out there constantly setting those traps and checking them and treating the area if appropriate. That's part of our risk mitigation strategy. If you recall, about 4 years ago, we had a dengue outbreak, which was one of the largest binational outbreaks. We actually, our ability to coordinate with state entities prevented that from becoming a localized outbreak. So we actually had an opportunity to present at the state level and talk about that. Again, we have online reporting. When we did that, we have the potential to do public health research. We constantly partner with universities, particularly NAU and U of A. When we have any sort of situation where there's the potential for research, we've had investigators who have later published their work. We've done that with the CDC as well. We are the liaison, and that's something, binational collaboration. So we're also working with our binational partners in Mexico. We've done some training with them. We did some Zika surveillance, and whoops, economic development. So food mobile units and food festivals. We have tons and tons of food festivals now, which is a great thing. The city of Yuma, for example, has over 20 that they do. So we go out there, we work with those vendors in advance. We've now done vendor meetings where we go in advance, we make sure everybody knows the requirements, and then the day of the actual event, we go out there and review and make sure everything's up to par. If there's an issue, we work with them to address it and fix it.
Do you actually get to taste the food?
No.
No tasting, no food tasting?
No.
No.
Strictly business. We do
That's
educational workshops, training and technical assistance, public health preparedness. We have plans. We work closely with the Office of Emergency Management. We have a counterpart of that, which is public health preparedness. So we have plans that we have in place in case there is a vector outbreak. We do internship and workforce development. So we work to provide internships primarily to college students, sometimes to high school students as well, who are interested in this field. We work with the University of Arizona to provide workforce development where they can access online training and seminars. The rest of it is administrative, public records requests, which we get a ton of, data entry, application, tons of public inquiries, strategic planning. We see where we want to go. We have the staffing. We're working on strategies to possibly expand that staffing to meet up with the growing demand, again, from these food festivals, the threat of some sort of outbreak. And sometimes, as we did last week, we drop everything we're doing and we go on the field when we think there's an emergent issue that we can address immediately. So that is a really, really quick overview. I think it's been the quickest I've ever been up here. So, do you have any questions?
So you were at the Taco Festival this last week.
My staff was. So
Yeah.
I have two of my staff members, Ramon Chandler and Fernando Desardins. So
Oh, yes, we
And
know
we
each other.
had tons of
They were
vendors.
out there. I saw them. There was a group of them out there, and in the morning at 10 o'clock when I was out there to judge, and they were getting themselves all organized with their checklist sheets. Yes.
So what they're trying to do is they're
They
trying
knew
to
you were
help
going to be
vendors.
there, that's why.
Vendor meetings before to make sure the least
Mhm.
amount of issues pop up the day of, and then they go right when they're setting up to make sure that everything's ready to go before people start. That way,
Yeah.
it's a benefit to the vendor and again a protection for the
Yeah,
people.
it started at noon, and they were there at 10. Yeah.
Early.
Mhm.
Oh, that was not a question, that was a comment.
I know, but it was wonderful.
Compliment.
Very
All right,
nice.
any questions? Yeah, sure. Supervisor Borges.
Do you have can the food card handlers card, can they do it online?
Not through us, but there's the capacity. You can. There's Arizona passed a law saying that that's an option now. So if you want to go ahead and do that online, you can go through some of those vendors and do it online. What we do is people come into our office. What we've been trying to do is going to the vendor meetings, and we've actually provided that ability. We've gone to Somerton, we've gone to Yuma, and then we do it on site, which is a new thing for us. Sometimes people can't make it to our office between the 8 to 5. Also, we try to take bilingual staff. That way, if there's a language issue, we can address it, which may not be available online, but that is an option.
So the answer is yes, but
Yeah,
limited.
so, and I'll say I had a real good conversation with Fernando, opening or starting a business, and he was great. I mean, he helped me out throughout the process of what we needed, and that's what I wanted to see. And you know, he did a tremendous job helping me and my partner. So
What's the name of the outfit?
the restaurant,
Yeah.
85351.
85350. That's Somerton's zip code, just in case anybody misses it.
So,
Know that.
thank you, Fernando, again.
Good. See, no comments, just
And
very
he
good
also was out there,
compliment.
you and he were out when I had that, an issue that, yeah, walking around in the dirt, yeah.
How many tacos did it take to get a passing grade?
Depending how big they are.
That's burritos, man. That's okay. Okay.
I'm walking away.
All right. Diana, you better step back a little
Thank
bit.
you.
Thank you very much for the
Diana.
presentation. Thank you. Yeah, it's time to walk away from the podium. That took care of, I think, the 3 items we had on the presentations, proclamations and appointments line. And we will now move on to the consent calendar. And the following items are listed under the consent agenda, and they will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. There are some notes on item 15, I think. There was a note that, yeah, 9 and 15. There was a note on 9 that the budget amendment resolution was listed as wrong, and that it should be 18-123 instead of the 17-88, which is just that's on 15?
15.
Well, okay, what's 9? 9, oh, we take no action on item 9, right? Okay, so we take no action on item 9, we removed it from the agenda, and then we make that change on item 15. Are there any other items to be pulled or any for discussion? Yeah, I'll pull item 15 just for a minute. Wait a minute, no, it wasn't 15. Wait, I mentioned that twice now.
9.
No, number 5. I want to pull item number 5, and just for a question. Okay, so it's item number 5 for a question. Item number 9 because it will be postponed. Item number 15 because there will be a change in the way that it's publicly stated here. Are there any other? No other items. So I don't entertain a motion to do just that.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent calendar with the exception of items 9, 5, and correction on 15 as noted.
All right. Well, item number 9. Okay, fine. We'll take those out. All those in favor of the rest of them being passed?
Aye.
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 Supervisor Porch just seconded. He just did it too close to the motion to. Okay, so again, I'm gonna take all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Item number 5, the reason I pulled item number 5, and I don't know if anybody here from the chair's office. Normally, when you have an item like this where you want an approval from the board to take a vendor, normally there's more information in it. In this one, there was only just the item. There was no secondary information. Is there a reason for that, or is it just simply that, the staff didn't put information in there?
No reason that I'm aware of, sir.
Right.
I'm Lieutenant Gomez from the Sheriff's Office.
Right.
Morning, board.
Well, it's a full body security scanner. I mean, let me read it because I think that's what we need to do first of all. It's a Sheriff's Office item. It's to award the full body security scanner system and service contract for the Yuma Detention Center to K-Prime Technologies, and at the listed price of $105,298, subject to legal review and effective May 1, 2018. Funding is currently available through the Arizona Public Safety Immigration Fund. Now, let me just state, I'm in favor of this. I just wanted to ask a question about, okay, it's a full body scanner, which I can get just from reading this, and there is a service contract with this, correct?
Yes.
I mean, they come in and repair it, or they come in and train you how to use it?
Both.
Both?
Yes, they'll come and do initial training, and then they will provide service as in for repairs and parts.
For how long?
Their service is covered for the first 2 years for free in the contract, and after that, there'll be a yearly cost of $8,500.
Okay. So there is a service contract that's attached to it and it's separate from the award, actually?
Yes, sir.
So is this award just for the actual scanner?
This is for the full body scanner and a 2-year contract.
And a
that is
2-year
attached.
contract. That's included in this whole price?
Yes, sir.
All right. And there was other vendors, but this one was the lowest?
There was 4 vendors provided proposals total, and this was the one with the most responsive proposal submitted.
But when you say responsive, meaning the one that met most of your requirements?
Yes, it was most responsive, complete, and fiscally responsible proposal submitted.
All right. Well, look, I'm not going to dwell too deeply into it, but I would appreciate some information coming with these items next time so that, we may know before, so we don't have to ask the question. I'll entertain a motion for approval, unless there's another question from any member of the board.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second for approval of the item as listed. Any discussion on the item? No discussion. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Glad you were here to answer the questions. All right, then. Item number 9, we opened it because we took it out of the sequence here. And I guess do you want us to continue the item to a date certain, or to table the item to a date certain, number 9, or do you just simply want us to?
Take no action. We'll
Take
bring
no
it
action?
back. We'll bring it back when it's appropriate.
All right, well, so it will be a take no action type situation, which means if we open to come back to us at any particular time once it's ready. Correct? Okay. So let's take no action on number 9 and the change on number 15. Right, that's recorded? That's right? Fine. So we'll move on then to the next item. The items that we have next is discussion and action items, and the first item is human resources, is to approve the amendments to Personnel Rule 101, definitions, and 104D, Americans with Disability Act amendments of the 2008 ADAA and reasonable accommodations. Personnel Rule 101, that may be the best and most important rule. 101.
101.
What we begin with.
Good morning, Chairman Reyes and members of the board. Felicia Frausto, Human Resource Director. And usually once a quarter, we try to bring to you updated changes to our personnel rules. And the most recent one that we wanted to improve on is our ADA. And so what it is truly is just an actual additional information to provide an individual as to what the steps would be taking place in the event that they needed an accommodation made due to a disability that they actually acquired while they were working, or one that they came upon when they were actually applied for a position. An applicant would know how we as Yuma County would be able to make those accommodations. So before, our rule was just very limited. Now it actually is more expansive, so this way it helps individuals.
Okay. Any questions from Felicia? No questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve it or disapprove it. Well, You know, sometimes it works out that way. Let's wait for the rabies licensing thing, or, you know, we get really wound up on it.
I move to approve this item as presented.
And I'll second it. And Mr. Chair, while I second it, I appreciate the comments that, and the ideas that Mr. McLeod came up with to clarify some of the rule changes. He did a very good job, and as did several other people that helped clarify the changes, and they were all but one were incorporated. So yes, so it was very good.
All
Thank
right.
you, Russ. Okay.
And on that positive note, and we'll discuss, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. This was a pretty quick one. Thank you very much. Hey, look, I couldn't help but notice that both officers, the sheriff officers, left. Oh, wait a minute. You were being covered by Felicia. I thought you left with the officer.
Oh, no, he's there looking out.
Yeah, he's there. Yeah, he's intently looking now. I couldn't see you, so I thought you left with the other officer as soon as he got the response. And yeah, it's fine.
So he's here to protect us.
That should be good for you because it's like it means you lost some weight lately. You know, you were right behind me.
Picking on you, Jim.
All right, let's move on to the next item, which is the Public Health Services District. It is to conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the proposed revision to Resolution Number 1032, Rabies Licensing Board and Impound Fee Schedule for the Yuma County Public Health Services District, and B, action to adopt Resolution Number 2018-10, Rabies Licensing Board and Impound Fee Schedule for the Yuma County Public Health Service District, effective immediately. That sounds ominous, but, you know, go ahead.
Chairman Reyes, members of the board, I'm Diana Gomez, Health Services Director. What we try to do here was basically just clean up the schedule. It was prorated, which we believed was not encouraging for people to renew the license. We changed it to a 12-month so that it expires on the same month that you bought it 12 months later. The previous system had it prorated, so if you bought it in September and it expired in March, you had to come back. So it was just, this was an easier way to do it, and we hope that in working with the Humane Society, both our agency and they believe that this will hopefully promote licensing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's it?
There's no increase, there's no changes other than clearing that up, changing it for 12 months, and aligning it with state statute.
Okay, any comments from the board?
My
Any-
only
any
comment
comments?
is
We
I'd
have to
like
open
to-
it for the public. Hold on. Sorry.
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment?
Sure, hold on. I just want to make sure that I follow the right procedure with this. Are we supposed to open it to the public? Okay, now, go ahead, Supervisor Pancratz, ask the question. I'll open it to the public.
Mr. Chair, Diana, I like the way that those folks who, the fee is small for those folks who do it on every year. And if a dog is picked up several times, then it moves up. The fee moves up. So you're you're not rewarding, but you're not penalizing somebody whose dog accidentally gets out during, let's say, the fireworks or something, and it's a one-time thing. It's a small penalty, but those people who their dogs continually to get out.
And officers have scanners on their truck, so if it's one of those where they ran out, we try to scan them first and return them before we even impound them.
Oh, that's good.
They're not charged a fee. So.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open this to it's a public hearing, so I'm going to open it up to the public. Diana, stay up in case there's a question. I am hereby opening this to a public hearing to receive comments from the public. Is there anyone in the public that likes to make a comment about this? If not, then I'll return it back to the board for their decision. And that would be to adopt resolution number 2018-10.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt resolution number 10-32.
18
And resolution number 2018-10 as presented.
That's right. Those two resolutions have been motioned for approval. Are there any discussion? Is there any discussion on them? If there's no discussion on them, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
I'll second.
Anybody opposed?
I'll
Motion
second it.
carries. Thank you very much. That makes that change.
Does it need a second?
Excuse
Do
me?
you have a second?
I didn't have one before, Supervisor McLeod is first.
Didn't have a second?
No.
I moved that quickly, huh?
I'll
I
second
thought
it.
I thought I saw some movement from the left, but then again,
It's always on the right. What are you talking about?
I know it's a right-leaning board. I get
I,
So there was a motion by Supervisor McLeod. I'll take everything else back and roll it back into a situation where the second will be from Supervisor Pancras. And so, again, the question is there any comments or questions from the board? There are none, that we already did the public hearing, so all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries, so now you can have it formally done. All right, then, the next item in the agenda is General Services, County Administrator, an update and discussion and possible action regarding the testing and the interim improvements at 197 South Main Street.
Chairman Reyes, Board of Supervisors, Steve Mendoza from Facilities Management. Update on 197. The unfinished portion on the first and the mezzanine are completed. The sidewalk, we're looking at a completion date of May 19th. The air conditioning portion, we're looking at next Tuesday to be completed with that part. Now, we did receive the air quality testing. We have the consultant scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30 to meet with the building tenants and at the same time to discuss the actual report and any concerns they might have. And with that in mind, the finance part, Dave said he would handle on his next scheduled meeting. That's it.
Good, well, it's good. I mean, it's as long as we're moving forward and it's getting closer and closer to the point where we can basically call the upgrades on that building done. We've been doing this for months, if not years. Yeah, well, be careful what you wish for, because then you get it. Are there any, is there some classified stuff we need to talk in private? No.
Glass blocks.
Oh, no, forget the glass block. It already was in the paper. I got all this negative press from it, so. Thank you very much for the upgrade, Steve. Are there any questions here from the board? No? Thank you. And, Godspeed. That takes care of the action items. The action items, and we'll now move into the planning and zoning agenda. The full legal description of the property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors office. I'm going to open the reversion hearings, which is a zoning matter in accordance with section 404.01, parentheses I get L or I, and 7 or 1, and parentheses 7 of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. The board will conduct a hearing to grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development, to determine compliance with the schedule for development, or cause the property to revert to its former zoning classification in the following cases. The first one is Development Services, Planning and Zoning Division, rezoning case 05-52, which is in accordance with the same statute of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. Action to grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development or cause the property to revert to its former RA-40 zoning classification on Assessor's Parcel 202-05-04, located in the northwest corner of Avenue 3E in County 11th Street in Welton, Arizona. We will have staff provide a short oral case summary. That's what it says
Thank
here,
you, Chairman
short
Reyes.
oral case.
Juan Rubio, Senior Planner. Chairman Reyes, whatever your preference is, all three cases we are recommending reversion on. There's no opposition from any, we did not receive any opposition from anyone. We did receive a response back from one of the former agents saying that they were no longer an agent of the current property owner. Do you want me to do a script on each presentation?
I think we need to, even if it's no problem, we'll just go through them fast. But yes, a short presentation will be.
Okay, so rezone keys 0552. I'll bring up the map. This is parcel number 202-05-004. On the slide is the current map. This case was approved by the board on November 11, 2005, subject to a schedule for development. The deadline for completion of the schedule for development was November 7, 2008. As of today, the schedule for development has not been completed. The board has two options: grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development, or revert the zoning back to the original zoning classification, RA40. Staff is recommending that this be reverted back to RA40.
All right.
It's the first case.
All right, any comments from the board? I'll open it to the public. Anybody in the public wants to say anything about this or make any comments regarding this item? If not, then I'll take it back to the board. Are there any comments from the board, or is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, zoning case number 05-52, move to revert to zoning.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been a motion and a second on this particular case to revert to the original zoning on rezoning case number 0552. Are there any comments or discussion from the board? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. One question before we move to the next one. Do you guys have a sense of how many how many cases like this are still pending? Because you guys kind of gave us a report on that some time ago. I just don't remember.
Supervisor Sherman Reyes, roughly I would guesstimate around 10.
Okay. All right. It's a good guesstimate. Number two, we'll move on so we can get them done.
This is
actually, when I asked that question, I thought about it, and these situations are going to happen as people don't do their thing. So, you may have 10, but then all of a sudden, 3 of them actually got past the stage that they have their development, schedule not met. So it's an ongoing thing. It just isn't going to, it's not like you have 10 cases and once you're done with that, we won't see one, for a long time. It may be that you get done with this 10 and then 3 more reach that, deadline. So thank you, though, anyway. It gives us a sense that we'll have a bunch of them as close to 10 as possible, in the near future. Item number 2, Development Services Planning and Zoning Division is rezoning case number 0561, which is again in accordance with the same section of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. Action to grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development or cause the property to revert to its former rural area -10 zoning classification on assessor's parcel number 198-1203 located in the northwest corner of Avenue 16E and Interstate 8, Yuma, Arizona.
Thank you, Chairman Reyes. Juan Leal Rubio,
The
Senior
same thing.
Planner. This is rezoning case 0561. This case was approved by the board back on November 21st of 2005, also subject to the schedule for development. The deadline for completion of the schedule for development was November 21st of 2007. The schedule has not been completed. The board has 2 options: grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development, or revert the zoning to its original RA10 zoning classification. Staff is recommending that this be reverted back to the RA10 zoning classification.
Any comments from the board before I open it to the public hearing? If not, then I'll open it to a public. Is there anyone in the public that wants to address the board on this particular item? There being nobody here in the public to address the board on this, I'll return it back to the board for their decision.
I'll make a motion that we approve the rezoning case number 05-61, revert it back to its original RA10
designation.
I'll second.
Then motion and second for item number rezoning case number 0561 for it to reverse to its original zoning. Any comments or discussion? No comments or discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries, and we move on to Development Service Planning and Zoning Division rezoning case 0579 in accordance with the section that we just talk about all the time of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. Action to grant an extension of time to comply with the schedule for development or cause the property to revert to its former RA40 zoning classification, rural area, so 40 acres zoning classification on assessor's parcel 195-12-012 located on the southeast corner Avenue D and County 11.5 Street in Yuma, Arizona.
Thank you, Chairman Reyes. This case was approved by the board back on February 16th of 2006, subject to the schedule for development. The deadline for the completion of the schedule for development was January 17th of 2008. The schedule for development has not been completed. The board has 2 options: granting an extension of time or revert the zoning to its original RA40 zoning classification. Staff is recommending that it be reverted back to the RA40 zoning classification.
Right. Any questions from the board? Not, I'll open it up to the public. I'll open up the public hearing and ask anyone in the public if they have any comments to make or anything to discuss. There's nobody in the public that wants to take this up, so I'll close the public hearing, return it back to the board for their decision.
I'll move to accept Staff's recommendation on rezoning case number 05-79.
And revert the
Reverted to.
property to the former zoning classification.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motion and second to revert this in this particular zoning case, rezoning case 0579. There will be a reversion to its original zoning classification. Any comments or discussion? No comments or discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Is everybody still awake? A little bit too. You know, now we get to the interesting part of the agenda. We're going to do the event calendar and current events before we move into the executive session. Okay? So, okay, board members. Lynn, I know you went to the taco festival because you were a judge.
Ooh, I
But,
had so much fun. I know.
When don't you?
I know, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I attended Judge Braunfelder's funeral here in Yuma. I grew up with his kids, and
Casey being
he
one of them.
was. It was a very, 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 very much a celebration of his life. So, and then I attended the APS Service Plan Open House, and if you want to go on aps.com, you can find all those different plans that they have. At my house right now, we're installing a programmable thermostat so that from 3 to 5, it goes up, which is the peak hours. Anyway, so those of you out there that want
It's
to.
3 to 8, I think.
Huh?
I think it's 3 to 8.
It is 3 to 8, yes, I'm sorry.
I think
3
you
to
said 3
8.
to 5. I said that's a very short period. It's actually
3 to
3
8.
to 8.
It is 3 to 8, sorry.
Yeah, 5 hours.
Anyway, go to aps.com and you can find it. I didn't approve of the increases, but this is a way to keep your costs down.
At least minimize them.
Yes, I attended the Fort Yuma Health Clinic grand opening over on the Kishan reservation over there and it is a beautiful facility, just a beautiful facility. So I went to employee appreciation, which we all did, and it was we have some amazing employees here in Yuma County. In fact, one of the gentlemen that I gave a hug to for 30 years of service was my husband's golf partner the next day at at the Hospice of Yuma PK Hodges golf tournament. Anyway, I went to the Yuma Regional Transportation Conference at Pivot Point, and I served dinner for the Hospice of Yuma PK Hodges Southwest Ag Golf Tournament, and I judged the Taco Festival. I was one of the finals judges, and we took the top 2 that the preliminary people did the night before, and we crowned they crowned from our decisions the king of the Taco
King
Festival.
of the Taco King.
The Taco King.
Who was it this year?
I wasn't there when they announced it, but
She was a, you know.
but there were some really interesting tacos. The unique ones were very unique.
All right. Yeah, you know, you haven't lived dangerously until you go to Mexico City and eat, you know, some of the tacos they sell over there.
Well.
Brain tacos, head tacos, tongue tacos.
Yeah, they got through the preliminaries with those. I did those the year before. I've been judging this since it started, so. And I understand Russell wants to be a judge, so.
Well, I don't think Russell needs to be a judge, but you know, if he wants to be a judge, then fine. Russell, you next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the privilege of attending the Joe Henry Optimist Center, basically grand reopening. It is beautiful. I mean, a year ago, that building seemed ready to just need to go away. I just can't describe how gorgeous it is inside. New wood flooring, new scoreboard, air conditioning system. That gym is gorgeous now.
Thank you, APS.
Thank you, APS and the Phoenix Suns. Great partners. That's the second basketball court that they've done here. And that facility, I just can't begin to describe how nice it is now. What a wonderful asset to our community. Of course, the employee recognition. Somebody held up the line because they were hugging everybody, but we got through it.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, following that, I did the walk a mile. Went and read the proclamation. Thank you, John, for the invitation for that. I appreciate it. Legislative Policy Committee with the County Supervisors Association.
Oh, I did that too.
And went to the, and thank you for filling in for me on Friday. I appreciate that. Went to the groundbreaking of the MPW facility that is out in the industrial park. And that's going to be a great addition. What a neat company, privately owned, and they've got a very interesting business model. A lot of good jobs for the Yuma area. So congratulations to the city of Yuma and GYEDC who worked hard to get them here. Attended the binational transportation meeting, did that electronically. Appreciate the city of Yuma hosting that so that we could join in the meeting that was held in Tucson. And also did the Yuma 50 dinner with the congressional legislative staff. And they did a great tour of MCAS and YPG. Wish I could have gone, I just didn't have the time, but they had a great tour. So that's what I got.
Thank you. Supervisor Simmons.
Held a community meeting out in the foothills, monthly one I do. Joe Early came out, which was great because a lot of people had a lot of questions about their taxes, which he answered. Also attended the years of service. Like I said, I don't think there were any losers in any of the, just getting nominated makes you a winner.
Forgot to congratulate Nancy.
Yeah, so congratulations to all the winners. Attended the LAPC meeting, met with Bureau of Reclamation and the Martinez Lake Homeowners Association, and want to just say thanks to the Sheriff's Office. They brought their, they were able to use one of their patrol boats and took us out. There's an issue with sand filling in the entries to Fisher's Landing and Martinez Lake. It's almost making them unpassable. So we're trying to get with Bureau of Reclamation to come down and dredge out those openings and clear them up, hopefully before the summer, and we have an increase in boating traffic and avert any accidents that may occur out there on the waterways. So, and other than that, that's about it.
Supervisor Borges, other than the opening of your restaurant in Somerton?
Well, other than that, I was. It's been a busy weekend and busy week, and yesterday one of my nephews had an accident, and his son, and they were flown to Phoenix last night. So it's been a rough night. So
you know, I actually took the kid out.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't know it was.
Yeah. Right. So he's actually heading to work
with his son in the back. He hit a tank on the side of the road, one of those fertilizer tanks, and just drove off. I mean, I was there as it happened.
You
were there? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's they're out of his son is okay, and his my nephew's actually the surgeon here saved his life.
Yeah, probably. It was a pretty dramatic accident. Well, wow. You know, and I was going to ask. Yeah. Hopefully it makes it okay. All right. Well, it's been a long week. I mean, first of all, I'd like to offer Susan our condolences. Her dad died last week, and I mean, I know she's, gone through some rough spots. On a brighter note, I want to thank Bill Grazer, who is now here with us, for the years of services given to all of us in different ways. Bill, I know that we don't get a chance much to have people tell us in public how grateful we are. We want to let you know that we're very grateful. You've done a great job. You've always been out there whenever you're asked to do something, and we appreciate it. Hopefully you'll remember that when you're out there sunning in Cancun or Los Cabos or whatever it is that you go out there. You and your wife, because your wife is also a very active member of the community. She did an excellent job for years at the community board.
Foundation. Relate that. Thank you.
I was also at the employees event, and if I remember correctly, there was something that's stuck to me, a comment that was made. Hardly ever when Supervisor McLeod makes a comment does it stick with me for long, but the comment that he made is how flawless that whole thing took place. I mean, how you keep so many awards, how you keep so many people, and how you make that flow so that it happens in an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's an incredible job. So I want to thank, the staff, Desiree, and the people that make it happen, because I think that, we get to enjoy the process, because nothing really, everything goes according to script. But the fact that you keep it going that way, and that everybody gets their awards, and and that anything that happens that well choreographed, it requires somebody's attention, and I want to make sure that you all know that. Now, I had an opportunity to attend the Borders Mayor's Summit in Calexico last was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday, and it was at the San Diego State University campus in Calexico, and at the library. And I mean, when you go to one of those campuses in the middle of a town like that, and you see it, functioning, you realize that we're missing one here in Yuma. That we really, that the university's presence in an area really highlights a lot of the history, a lot of the stuff that goes on in there. I mean, it's a great meeting. The mayor of Mexicali was there, the mayor of El Centro, the mayor of Brawley, the mayor of Calexico, and the mayor of Yuma. I happened to, publicly tell him I'm sorry I had to step up and leave when he was doing his presentation, but I had to go and read a resolution for the fair housing event here at the Art Center, which was another event that was well coordinated. I mean, those posters that those art students from AWC put out for fair housing, those are incredible. Those are professional grade, as we, they're very, very good. And the winner's poster was something about a house divided, which was really nice, because it was a house made of blocks, and every one of those blocks meant something. It was a real nice event, and there's also something to be said about this community that takes the time and puts out the effort to make sure that everybody remembers that back in 1960 something, an act was passed making sure that everybody's have access to housing. So I attended that. I guess the last thing is, I showed up a little earlier, I think, that they expected me down at the mayor's, so I took a tour of the Calexico port of entry and the improvements they're making over there. It was interesting. The most interesting thing to me was the fact that most of the port director and the port assistants, they were local boys, which is something, a little difficult to see, because in San Luis, we almost never get to have a local guy be the port director. And it really makes a difference when the port director is a local guy, because he knows the community, knows the people. It was very heartening to see the type of communication they have between the mayors and the supervisors, because there was a supervisor from Imperial Valley there, Renison, who happens to have been John Renison, who happened to have been the mayor of some, of Calexico and so forth. And it was really, maybe it's because there's a local port director that the relationship seems to be a lot more friendly and a lot more, it's, to get into this port of entry here is like getting into Fort Knox. To get into the port of entry in Calexico was a real easy process. They didn't have to go through metal detectors and all this kind of stuff. It was just a different experience than what I'm used to. But again, it's always nice to get a different perspective on other places. And I'm taking too long, and this was a short meeting, so I'm going back to the curse of a long meeting. I'm done.
Chair,
Susan, yeah.
I'll just say, William Brooks was, he was local.
Yeah, he was local.
He was local.
Yeah, I guess so. We got to speak.
And I want to add one more thing too, Mr. Chairman, if I forgot. Shout out to the fair. Another week of the fair. They did an outstanding job. Spent the week out there, JLC, another great job, working with the kids. And to all the kids that won, I mean, even the ones that didn't, it's an experience that, they'll never forget. And it's, like I said, it's really interesting watching the kids out there with their animals and stuff. So just good job.
Mr. Chair, I have one more comment along with Darren's. I want to thank all the community members and businesses, the local businesses in Yuma County that buy these animals for these kids who raise them as projects for 4-H. We have over 1,000 kids in 4-H, and a large majority of those are with animals, from steers down to bunny rabbits, and our community goes out to that auction and buys those animals from those kids, and those kids learn a lot. They have to put together record books. They have to keep track of all the feed they use. It's a real educational experience for those kids at the fair. So, and it's from right after, from November all the way till April. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, experience. And the fair did very, very well this year. So
They give up their
Yeah.
spring breaks, and like I
Yeah.
said, they're there dusk to dawn. The kids are.
I know.
It's just.
As a parent.
And on
Thank
a-
you, parents, because the parents are there with them the whole time. So.
Yeah, and on a
Yes.
and on a somewhat darker note, I mean that E. coli contamination, yeah, that to me, the way that's been handled leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, when the announcement comes out that it came from Yuma, when it could have come from the trucking company, when it could have come from a cooling plant, when it could have come from any of the other places that product touches, it's a little disconcerting to me that before they really actually know which whatever, at least the information that we got wasn't complete enough. So it was
We're
just
along the process that it
yeah. It
From
just,
the time, Mr. Chair, from the time it leaves the field to the time that it's in the market, in the grocery store, it touches 17 different hands.
Yes.
I mean, 17, and a lot of times it comes from somebody other than
In the
the
field.
people who
In the
produced
field.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
because with all the food safety that our farmers have to use now,
like I said,
you know,
it was disappointing to me that it just came out the way it came out. That it that it doesn't acknowledge all the other places that contamination could come from. It was in some way it was fortunate that the season's over here, so that essentially there's a little bit of time for that information to become much more, I guess, much more real information as opposed to just all that all the speculation about it. But anyway, anything else? We're going to go into executive session. Susan? Oh, Susan. Well, Susan gets credit.
Thank you. So, yeah, the CDC is in charge of that process, but we can certainly, with Diana and I, can talk with them about our perspective on how that came out and maybe some improvements that they could make to be more precise when they're actually describing what the issue is. And it really should be more about focused on the people who got ill than where it came from. I mean, I think that's where we can have that dialogue and we'll see what happens with the CDC, but we'll make our best efforts with that.
Good.
And then I did want to say, just remind you that we have another employee appreciation event. We have a family-friendly event, April 20th, this Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. for employees and their immediate families. We want to show our appreciation to them with having a kind of an informal taco dinner and movie night outdoors at the Civic Center area. So please come to that if you can and bring your family. And we'll look forward to having another celebration with all of our employees. And that's my report.
Mr. Chair, can John talk about the Victims' Rights Week? Will you say something about that and the ceremony on the 24th? Please.
Open the call to the public. So
Thank you. There'll be a Victim Rights Week is actually this week, but the availability of a place to have our victim appreciation dinner for crime victims and those who serve them is going to take place not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, which I believe is the 24th.
Yes.
By invitation. We do kind of keep it close and intimate because we do have victims present and victim family members and survivors. Some of you have been to that in the past, and of course all of you are being invited to that as well, and we look forward to seeing everybody at that time.
But it's
I do want to note that this is put on by the Victim Rights Committee, which is a coalition of service members, service providers for crime victims, and individuals who are victims and survivors themselves. It's not solely a Yuma County attorney program.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Everybody's got buy-in, and it's a really nice event to get together and discuss, the progress we made so far and things we can do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what, John? Also, since we're in that subject, I mean, you've been so instrumental throughout the years in making sure and supporting all those events that we kind of tend to believe they just happen on their own, but they don't. They happen because a lot of people like yourself, have a an interest to put out so much time and effort into it. And I mean, for years, we've had you, as a matter of fact, we've had you come up and tell us all the time what's going to happen and cajole some of us to attend some of those meetings, and, it needs to be recognized. It's just, it's people like you and other people that make those things happen, right? Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to go ahead in executive session. Do I have to have a motion? Why? No, I'm just kidding.
Second.
The motion and second to go into executive session. We were going to go upstairs and have this meeting, and we'll come back and, I guess, make a decision. It's a board action, so we'll come back in a few minutes. Hopefully, we can't tell you, but, we don't know, but we'll be back.
Mr. Chairman?
What?
I believe-
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
John had something to say.
John, you had something to
I
say?
think you can go ahead and adjourn this regular session with that motion, and then you don't need to come back down and reopen back.
We don't have any items on the agenda that.
It'll be the end of your agenda, and so you can declare following the conclusion of the executive session that the meeting is completely adjourned.
That's fine with me.
We'll do it.
I thought we provided
Following
some
the conclusion
scripted.
of the regular meeting, the executive session, the regular meeting will be over.
We're just trying new things to be more efficient as we move along. in the meetings.
See, when it comes from an attorney, I have doubts.
Oh.
Oh.
You have to raise you up and lower you down.